Let's watch this next time and see if it's an improvement. On board now as well. Great shots of the circuit as they go through into that tunnel section as well. Paul Belmondo there, the man who raced for the March Ilmore team in Formula One in 1992, doing 5 races for them. And Belmondo's been going well. He's done 3 years of karting before he actually started off his motor racing career in single-seaters. So he's putting in some great performances here and has been one of the quickest guys out on the karts. He looks as though he's coming back into the pits, perhaps a problem, or perhaps the opportunity taken to tune the chassis, tune the kart a little bit. They have the ability to change the karts a little bit. You can see him coming into the pits there on the onboard camera. In fact, they can change the grid as much as possible. Well, Helary is still hoping to get into Grand Prix racing. Hasn't made it yet. He's been racing the Peugeot sports car this year, won Le Mans. He also, for the 2nd year running, won the Peugeot Spider Cup Championship in France. It's a sports car championship, equivalent sort of level to Formula 3. The pressure there, that's Belmondo on the number 14. Paul Belmondo with the onboard camera. And just behind him, Eric Helary now, in fact, just behind him, because Collard lets him through. So, and a spin. So, something going on. Belmondo having a bit of a moment there. And managing to rejoin quite safely. And in fact, here we go. Let's have a look from on board with Paul Belmondo. You can see him sliding the car into the first of the hairpins in the stadium. Braking with the left foot, remember. Accelerating. We can't see the accelerator pedal from our angle here, but let's watch him through the quick left-hander. Now he has a quick right underneath the bridge through into the tunnel. And now through a fairly quick left-hander. They then accelerate up towards a tight hairpin. This is the bumpy hairpin up at the end of the corridor. And he loses it again, spins out. He can't quite get his braking right into that end hairpin. Maybe he's experimenting with a later braking point. Whatever the reason, he's certainly not getting it quite right. It's a shame we didn't get the onboard pictures, but they lose the onboard camera as it goes under the tunnel there. So we can't quite see that from on board, but there he is coming back into the pits. Perhaps he wants a bit of attention made to the braking, because at the moment it seems to be suffering a little bit. There's Philippe Streff just next to him, as we see Jean-Marc Gounon and Olivier Grouillard, 2 French drivers, but been racing in the IndyCar series in 1993. Well, the times, Emmanuel Collard is fastest at the moment. Ayrton Senna having a look up at the screens, which are in the ceiling here, and it's Emmanuel Collard then fastest on a 29.006. Eric Helary second fastest on 29.388. And Collard's time, really, that's the quickest time we've seen this weekend. A fabulous time, 29.006. Olivier Grouillard, third fastest on 29.542. Jean-Marc Gounon then on 29.674. Yannick Dalmas on 30.033. Then Eric van der Poel on 30.509. And Paul Belmondo on 31.686. So the 7th fastest time for Paul Belmondo. And he had a few problems, as we could see, with his brakes and perhaps... Welcome back to Bercy, where we're now getting ready for the 2nd of the Formula 1 Grand Prix drivers qualifying sessions, and this is the one which sees Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna competing in this qualifying session. Also Johnny Herbert there, Andrea de Cesaris. So a great lineup for this 2nd qualifying session, and with Emmanuel Collard fastest in the first session, can anybody get anywhere near his time? Certainly the performance yesterday of Emmanuel Collard showed that he was one of the fastest of the day, and perhaps he is going to be able to continue that sort of form all the way through the day. Well, there is Alain Prost, the local favourite here in Paris, and everybody here to see him, and he's been going very well over the course of the weekend. Yesterday's relay race final, he ended up doing 18 laps, quite a lot. They had a few problems with his team, And so he had to go out a little bit earlier than scheduled. And his fastest lap in that race yesterday was a 29.648. 29.648 for Alain Prost. And Senna not out yet. They're changing the plug, so perhaps the engine not firing up when they tried to get it going. So Senna losing a little bit of time there in the pits. But Prost, very, very consistent from first time he got in the car on Friday. And you can see, just watch his style. It's very interesting to watch the driving technique of all these guys as they go around the circuit. Prost, very smooth, letting the kart do the work, always trying to give it as little steering input as possible, controlling it very much on the brake and the throttle, and trying to give it as little steering as possible, particularly on the exit of corners. A little bit of slide into corners as he brakes as late as possible, then acceleration out of the corners without too much correction, without too much oversteer, the quickest way on the kart. And his final 10 laps yesterday were all in the 29s, whereas some of the quick drivers were in the 29s, then doing a 30, then doing another 29, a couple of 29s, and then another 30 perhaps. Well, Prost was constantly, in those last 10 laps, was in the 29s. The very consistent performance as we've come to expect. That was, I think, Pierluigi Martini there, just pulling off to the side. And perhaps he was losing some time. And losing out in terms of the performance of his kart. So we'll have to see how he gets on in just a moment. So Alain Prost, let's see if he can improve his time, a 30.533. Well, he's going quick already. There's Olivier Panis just behind him. The problems they had with this, they have now cured. And it looks as though Senna has now got the chance to get out and do some times as well. .29.853 now, the fastest from Olivier Panis, and Senna 30.6, so getting down towards the times, but not quite there yet. Olivier Panis, there he is, the number 7 kart. He is the man who won the Formula 3000 Championship this year. There he is going past Alain Prost, and just managing to overtake. I think Prost actually led him a little bit there, but 29.853, 29.997, Olivier Panis, certainly very much the man on the pace at the moment. Let's see whether he can continue this sort of pace. Alain Prost trying to chase after him. Perhaps he can use Olivier Panis in front of him as a bit of a carrot to try and go for a faster time. But we saw this yesterday as well. Prost putting in a very quick time towards the end. Look at Panis controlling it, flicking it in on the brakes, but trying to keep it as smooth as possible on the exit of corners. You can see the karts go up on 2 wheels sometimes. They produce a lot of grip from the slick Dunlop tyres at 29.837. A very quick time once again for Olivier Panis. Ayrton Senna then on the number 2 kart, and now he has the fastest lap of 29.654 for Ayrton Senna, and Senna really has got it together now. He's had less experience on this track than some of the others because he didn't turn up until a bit later, but they had sent him out a kart to Brazil for him to practice on his own circuit in Brazil, and well, he's using all that practice time that he's had, and now Ayrton Senna really starts to set the place alight with some very quick times indeed. A 29.654, the quickest he's done so far, and he goes faster again at 29.497, getting down towards the time of Emmanuel Collard from that first session. A 29.0 for Emmanuel Collard. Can Senna try and beat that time? A very impressive time indeed. Well, Senna had yesterday actually had a bent axle after a little incident in the race yesterday. They had problems with his team. He ended up doing a few slowish laps, and then he went off and bent the axle. He then went back out, or continued, and did times in the 29s, even with that bent axle. Well, today, of course, they've changed the axle. He's got a kart that is performing as it should do. and he now is putting in some quick times. He's chasing after Philippe Alliot, and the clock once again running on Senna's kart. Alain Prost, let's see whether he can try and improve on his time as well. So Alain Prost, the clock running on the French world champion, who was a former French and a European champion on karts. He started his career on karts when he was 15 years old. So he had plenty of experience, and he's now trying to beat that time of Senna, 29.497, 29.611. He's just a tenth of a second slower than Senna. And this sensations, they were telling us, are similar. And the kart control always a bit wide there, a little bit wide of the apex perhaps on that first hairpin. That could have cost him a couple of hundredths of a second, and Herbert's gone quickest now with a 29.259, 29.6545 for Prost. So Johnny Herbert now the fastest man on the track, and the man who won yesterday. His team was the winning team in the relay race yesterday. Is looking in great form again, Johnny Herbert on the number 5 kart. So Alain Prost, the time running again for him. And let's see whether he can go a bit quicker this time. 29.557, still a little bit outside that time of Johnny Herbert. 29. Former British champion, raced karts for around about 10 years in all. And always very, very quick on karts before he switched over to car racing. So a little bit slower that lap, but still very much on the pace in the 29s. He moved on to Formula Ford, won the Formula Ford Festival back in 1985, won the British Formula 3 Championship in 1987, and his karting experience really coming in to its old ear, and he clips the inside. Oh dear, just as I was saying how well he was going. Johnny Herbert clips the apex on that very quick right-hander as they come back into the stadium. He just clipped the tyres on the inside. You could see it with his right rear. And that's going to have done a bit of damage. I wonder, I would think, as well, a steering arm as well. Alain Prost gone second fastest in the meantime. He's done a 29.298. There is the accident, as you could see Johnny just clipping the inside apex. But this man now has gone second fastest then. And Johnny Herbert still with the fastest time, 29.259. And there he is, receiving the applause of the crowd after a spectacular accident into the barriers. But he's not too perturbed about that. And so Johnny, well, I don't know if that puts him out of action. We'll have to wait and see. I hope they've got another kart. I'm sure they have. They have lots of spare karts there, but whether they will have one ready for him to use straight away, I'm not too sure. We shall wait and see with interest. Ayrton Senna then third fastest on a 29.370, and explaining to the mechanics, and there you get the whole lineup of the times. The Cesaris there in fourth place, and he put it in a quick time right towards the end there. You can see a number of laps completed, and he put in a quick time just towards the end, 29.695. Olivier Panis not as quick as we thought from the beginning, and Prost receiving the congratulations. Now you can see the body protector there, protecting from the bruising as he bounces around this circuit, and that's certainly a very important part of driving the karts on a bumpy surface. Well, welcome back to Bercy. We're getting ready now for the main event of the afternoon, which is where the Grand Prix drivers will be competing in a relay race. There are 8 teams of 3 drivers, and the top Grand Prix drivers each their own team, and they will be competing against one another to see who is going to win this Elf Masters indoor karting event. Well, we've just had the final of the kartists, and we saw Danilo Rossi beat Mikael Santaberta in a great race. John Target third, Nikolai Olsen in fourth, and Charlotte Elberg in 5th position. Well, the kartists have done their bit. It's now time for the Grand Prix stars to have their opportunity. There's Ayrton Senna and Eric Comas having a little chat before the start of this race. And they're all getting ready to see what's going to happen and what the starting lineup is going to be. Carts lined up on the grid now. And let's have a look at that lineup. Well, that gives you the order of the grid for this relay race final. Prost team with Eric Helary and Franck Lagorce, good team. Two young French drivers, both very quick indeed. So Prost looking good with his team. Ayrton Senna though also with a strong team, Jules Bouillon and Olivier Grouillard, so certainly looking good for this final race, the relay race. Well, we'll be seeing the junior team members, as it were, starting the race first of all, and then moving on to the more experienced hands, and finishing up with the Grand Prix stars will be the final drivers in each race. Well, Alain Prost can relax for the moment because it's going to be some little time before he has to take part for his part in this race. Same with Ayrton Senna. They will be the last drivers for their teams, so they have the job of watching their teammates, see how they get on in the first part. There's Paul Belmondo also getting ready for the event. He's got Sarrazin in his team, who did so well in the Elf race that we saw at the beginning of the programme, and Philippe Alliot, also a member of the Belmondo team. Well, problems yesterday for Ayrton Senna with Jean-Marc Gounon on his team, and Gounon's karts actually broke down. Hopefully this time we'll have a little bit more luck. Still a lot of support for the Brazilian here in Paris.
I would like just you to tell us if you are having fun here today, and how do you like, I know this is not as big as the Maracanã Stadium, but how do you like the people and the public of Paris?
Well, it is a unique experience, and I think yesterday night the French public had a lot of fun. We also had a lot of fun, and today hopefully we all go home happy, have enjoyed 2 days of show with the go-karts, with the kids, with the youngsters, and hopefully, of course, also everybody unhurt, because it's a very tight circuit. We all have to be a bit careful. But the main important thing is to make a big party for Philippe and all the public that is very enthusiastic about the event.
Thank you very much. Muito obrigado, Ayrton. Thank you.
So Ayrton Senna giving his opinion of the indoor karting event here at Bercy, and it certainly appears as though all the Grand Prix drivers are thoroughly enjoying this one-off event so far. Let's hope it becomes perhaps an annual event here in Paris, because it really is providing some great action and some great racing as well. An opportunity for people to get much closer to the Grand Prix stars than normal, to really see them in action. The great thing about watching kart racing is you can observe the drivers, what they're doing, and watch their driving style so much more clearly than you can when they're hemmed in the cockpit of a single-seater racing car. So the kart racing really is proving to be a fabulous spectator event as well. Well, there's Sébastien Philippe, who was also going so well a little bit earlier on, winner of that earlier race. Olivier Panis also going very well earlier on. See how they all get on in this final race. Alain, Prost watching proceedings.
Vous aviez envie aujourd'hui de donner plus pour le public, de donner plus de vous-même. J'ai l'impression que c'est en bonne voie avec les résultats de tout à l'heure. Alors cette finale qui se prépare, à mon avis, vous allez vous jeter dedans plein pot.
Oui, ils ont eu un petit aperçu avec les qualifications. J'espère qu'en course, ça se passera mieux qu'hier. Aussi, le public est plus chaud encore que celui d'hier soir, donc j'espère que...
Well, Prost hoping that everyone giving plenty of support.
Quand je passais ici, je les entendais derrière moi, donc j'espère que je vais les entendre aujourd'hui sur les 20 tours et qu'ils vont m'aider à remonter encore une fois sur le podium.
Ils vont vous aider, ça c'est certain.
So Prost hoping for a good result, and certainly that's exactly what the crowd wants as well. They are cheering their man on this afternoon, and they finally have the opportunity to do that here and really give him all of their support in this event. So it is going to be Sébastien Philippe in Johnny Herbert's team that will be starting off on pole position. So Johnny Herbert looking good once again, perhaps for another win in this indoor karting event. We'll have to see whether he can achieve a second win in 2 days, in just a little while. So the grid for this final race of the indoor karting event at Bercy, the main race, the Grand Prix race where we see the Grand Prix drivers joining two teammates over 60 laps to complete the race and to see who comes out on top. Sébastien Philippe will be starting from pole position in Johnny Herbert's team. There is Jean-Marc Gounon just checking out his kart. And getting ready to start them up, using little electric starters to fire the engines up. No need to push start them. Unfortunately, Damon Hill not here today. Damon was racing yesterday, but he injured his ribs, bruised his ribs quite badly, and really couldn't drive in any sort of comfort, and it didn't really enable him to race properly. And so Damon not here today for the Sunday event. We've also lost Eric Bernard for similar reason. And so Eric van der Poel and Eric Helary coming in to replace those two for the event today. And well, we'll see how they manage to get on in this particular race. See whether they can uphold the honour of the Grand Prix drivers. So they're being led round on the pace lap now. They will have a standing start, as we saw before. Xavier Pompidou just flashing through the picture there as well. Pompidou driving with Cesaris in the team. Number 4 team. And 2 karts going through as well. And so we get ready for the lights to change to green, and off they go then, the first corner of this Grand Relay race, the final race here at Bercy, and it's storming into the lead there for the number 1 car of Franck Lagorce. So Franck Lagorce leading from the front. It wasn't a great start for Sébastien Philippe, and Lagorce, who was going so well earlier on in the Elf qualification race, dives into the lead. Xavier Pompidou is in 3rd position at the moment for the Cesaris team. And then in 4th place, it's the number 2 kart there, and that's Jules Bouillon with the striped helmet. He's holding on to 4th place. Bouillon driving for Ayrton Senna's team. So Ayrton Senna's team there in 4th position. What about Prost's team? Well, Prost checking through the list, the number 1 team of Lagorce, so that means that he's out in front and he's in good position. So the Prost team leads at the moment, courtesy of Franck Lagorce. And in 2nd place, the Johnny Herbert team with Sébastien Philippe. Oh, and there's an instant, Pompidou's off, somebody else was wide as well there. So it all changes around, but I think Lagorce still managing to keep control. Xavier Pompidou, though, losing an awful lot of time, and that is the team of Cesaris. So Cesaris won't be very happy about that. He'll be watching from the pits and thinking, what's going on here? Because they now suddenly drop right back and looks as though Pompidou may have problems there. You saw him waving his arm. So maybe some sort of problems for him. Sébastien Philippe chases after Franck Lagorce. It's the Prost team leading ahead of the Johnny Herbert team. This is really setting things up for a great race. Senna team has dropped, well no, it's up to third place now. So Senna team up into third position and going very well at the moment. Let's see if they can continue. There it is, the Senna team, the number 2 team. Senna's number 2, holding on to third place at the moment. But Prost, courtesy of Franck Lagorce, out in front. There is Jules Bouillon, the Formula 3000 driver in Senna's team, holding on to third place. Somebody else getting a bit locked up, a bit sideways behind him. Lagorce coming under pressure now from Sébastien Philippe. Lagorce taking a defensive line into the hairpin there to try and keep Philippe behind. There's the gap between first and third, and Philippe goes through, and Lagorce makes a mistake, so Philippe goes through, and that means that Johnny Herbert's team is leading. Well, this is the position they were in yesterday. They managed to come through to the checkered flag and take the win. Can they do so again? It's a good performance this from Sébastien Philippe, the man who was winner of the Junior World Cup in karting, and the Herbert team is now in charge. Lagorce for Prost team in second place. Then in third place, Senna's team, holding on well with Jules Bouillon. Then a little bit of a gap back to the other teams. These 3 teams really, in some ways, the most interesting, because Senna, Prost and Herbert, the quickest guys in many ways on these karts of the Grand Prix regulars. And, well, if they stay here and we get a battle between those 3 in the final stages of this race, that really will be some sort of action. There is Philippe still leading in the number 3 kart from Franck Lagorce, who made that little mistake. It only took the slightest mistake for him to lose that lead and to drop down to second place. There he is, still chasing after Sébastien Philippe. Trying to close up to them is Jules Bouillon on the number 2 karts. He definitely is closing up a little bit. So we have the Herbert team, the Prost team and the Senna team absolutely together now. As they continue round, they'll be completing quite a few laps, getting on for 20 laps before they make the first changes over. There's Philippe then leading for the Herbert team. Can Herbert keep up the 100% record, having won here last night? Well, this would be some sort of performance indeed. And it certainly looks as though Johnny's found himself a good team member here in Sébastien Philippe. The other man to go for them is Emmanuel Collard, and Collard was the fastest qualifier that we've seen today. So things are looking good for Johnny Herbert's team at the moment, but there's a long way to go. Alain Prost team in second place with Franck Lagorce, the winner of the last 2 rounds of the Formula 3000 Championship. And then Jules Bouillon, another young Frenchman, in the third place for Ayrton Senna's team. And Senna has Olivier Grouillard as well. Oh, there's a little bit of change round perhaps, as Bouillon having a go at Formula 3000 compatriot Franck Lagorce, but couldn't quite find a way through. That lost him a little bit of ground perhaps, but he's still there, still battling in third position for the Senna team. Well, this has all given a little bit of an opportunity now for Sébastien Philippe to perhaps pull away a little bit for the number 3 team, and things looking good for them at the moment. Long way to go though. We had a few mechanical failures yesterday. We had a few incidents with people crashing into bales. We saw Johnny Herbert lose it earlier on, and well, presumably they've given him a replacement kart, but who knows whether that kart's going to be quite as good or what the situation will be. So plenty to play for here. 50 laps to the end of the race, but we've got 2 changeovers of drivers to go before that. Bouillon going down the inside into the hairpin. Well, he doesn't quite make it. He gets through, but he runs wide, skates wide, and that gives the opportunity to Lagorce to retake the place again. So good attempt there from Bouillon as he tries to take second place away from Franck Lagorce, but it wasn't quite to be. We saw Senna make an almost identical manoeuvre yesterday on Johnny Herbert, and he also ran wide, although Senna was able to get through. Some of the other runners being about to be caught now and being lapped already by the leader. That's Eric van der Poel. We've just seen being lapped by the leader. There he is. There's our leader, Sébastien Philippe. Number 3, just ahead there. The number 7 kart is Eric van der Poel being lapped now. So can ignore him from the overall race results, and he's now got to watch out. But this could give the opportunity perhaps for Bouillon to get through into second place. Lagorce there, you see, had to hit the brake a bit hard to avoid hitting the back of Eric van der Poel's kart. And so now Bouillon with a little check over his shoulder to see where Xavier Pompidou is, now attacking and seeing if he can get past Franck Lagorce. Lagorce holding him off, but he's got a bit worried about getting past Eric van der Poel, I think. And this is giving Xavier Pompidou the opportunity to catch them both up as well. So Pompidou on the number 4 kart. That's the Cesaris team closing up onto the action. Cesaris was part of Johnny Herbert's team yesterday. So that was a good, successful team. And Eric van der Poel letting them through there. You can see van der Poel waving them through, but they're still getting a chance maybe because they all go a bit wide. Oh, and Bouillon's in trouble. Bouillon's in trouble. What a shame. Senna really isn't having any luck in his teammates, and the sort of luck that they're having. Yesterday, Jean-Marc Gounon went out and lost Senna's team a lot of time because of a mechanical failure, and now Jules Bouillon has similar. So what a great, great pity. Perhaps the other member, Olivier Grouillard, is now out. They may well have changed over and perhaps allowed Olivier Grouillard to go out already on the number 2 kart. He is the next team member for the Senna team. Philippe in control on the number 3 kart. There is the Prost team in second place with Franck Lagorce at the wheel. Xavier Pompidou then in third position with the number 6 kart of Belloc. So Belloc spins out and Lagorce really ran a little bit wide, and that allowed Pompidou through. So Lagorce drops down, and Pompidou's team now up into second place. That's the team of Cesaris and Jean-Marc Gounon as well. It's a good, strong team, that one. Jean-Marc Gounon very, very quick. He'll be out to make up for his disappointment yesterday. And Pompidou also showing his ability. Lagorce for Prost has dropped back a little bit, and what a great shame. It really is all to play for, but here is the Prost team making their stop as Eric Helary now comes out for Prost's team and rejoins the race. They're just with Eric van der Poel same time. Cold tyres. It is quite slippery, this track, on cold tyres. Noticed this in the qualifying runs. In fact, Mike Wilson telling us they were putting a little bit more pressure in the tyres to try and make sure they were getting a little bit more grip straight away as they came out on cold tyres. So there is Eric Helary then for the Prost team, and still in second place at the moment. Now there is Jean-Marc Gounon for the Cesaris team. He has now taken over for that team from Xavier Pompidou, and Jean-Marc Gounon, former runner-up in the World Championship of Karts. He finished second to Stefano Modena in 1984 in fact it was the European Championship. There is the leading team coming into the pits and back out. Emmanuel Collard now takes over from Sébastien Philippe. Emmanuel Collard there on the number 3 kart. Leading team of Johnny Herbert. Can they hold on to this lead? Good quick change over there. No mechanical problems for them so far. Can they hang on to this lead, but looking fairly healthy at the moment. The lead still over the Cesaris team, which now is being looked after by Jean-Marc Gounon, thanks to that effort of Xavier Pompidou. Then the Prost team in third place, now being driven by Emmanuel Collard. Sorry, not Collard, by Eric Helary. Eric Helary now for the Prost team. Le Mans winner from this year with his first race on the karts this weekend, because he didn't compete in yesterday's race. So he's having to get used to the racing action. And Prost is there now ready, because if any problem should occur to Eric Helary, mechanical problem or a crash, then Prost is ready to go. Yesterday they learnt this one fairly quickly because a few incidents happened and the next driver wasn't ready. They weren't helmeted up, Ayrton Senna amongst them, and they weren't ready to get back out, so that lost them a lot of time in yesterday's race. Well, there you can see Ayrton Senna is ready. He's learnt from that one. We haven't seen any sign of Olivier Grouillard at the moment. No pictures of him. He is the man who's driving for the Senna team. But and this is problems perhaps. Problems for, is that Emmanuel Collard? The race leader, Emmanuel Collard for the Herbert team. Oh no, this is a disaster for the Herbert team now. Is Johnny Herbert going to be able to get out of the pits? How long are they going to delay him? There obviously will be some delay. That means Jean-Marc Gounon comes into the lead now on the number 4 kart. So Jean-Marc Gounon is now our new race leader as Emmanuel Collard is in trouble. But no, it's not Herbert to come back out. It's Sébastien Philippe, it looks like to me, who's going to be coming back out for the number 3 team. So I don't know why Johnny Herbert's not allowed out yet, but for whatever reason, maybe his kart isn't ready yet, but it looks like Sébastien Philippe getting ready, but oh dear, that's lost them really all their time. And now Jean-Marc Gounon is race leader on the number 4 machine with Cesaris, the team leader, and the man who will take over from Jean-Marc Gounon after his stint. Well, Jean-Marc Gounon's completed many more laps than he did yesterday. Yesterday's event didn't go at all well. He only managed to complete about 2 laps before the kart broke down. Generally, the mechanical reliability of these karts has been very good over the weekend, but as you can see, 1 or 2 problems. There is Eric Helary on the number 1 kart, and he's got past Eric van der Poel and gives a little wave to the crowd. Big cheer from the crowd. The Frenchman gets past the Belgian, and Eric Helary now goes chasing after Jean-Marc Gounon. This is the battle. Now look at that. Senna's team's now up into 3rd, and Herbert's team is way down the order with those problems. So what a shame, but Eric Helary now goes chasing after Jean-Marc Gounon. And can the Prost team get back on terms with the Cesaris team? This is a great battle in store. Helary looking very quick indeed. He was setting some great times. So it's Jean-Marc Gounon leading from Eric Helary at this stage of the race. Well, Ayrton Senna looks on as Eric Helary. Now we've got somebody coming into the pits as Eric van der Poel, and he makes his changeover to Olivier Panis by the looks of things. So, or is that Olivier Andrea? A little bit tricky to tell. But he is now back out for the number 7 team, as coming up to try and go past is Sébastien Philippe on the number 3 kart, and kart that has lost all that ground, unfortunately. And that is a great shame that they lost all that ground with Emmanuel Collard's problems, and really sort of out of it now, unfortunately. And it's a great pity there for their team. It's actually Guerin on the number 7 kart now. And Guerin, Sébastien Guerin on the number 7 machine, chasing after. But still looking good at the moment for Jean-Marc Gounon. There he is on the number 4 kart. But look at this, Eric Helary is definitely closing up towards him. Getting a little bit closer now is Eric Helary. And, well, perhaps we're going to see a battle developing for the lead before we see the 2 main drivers from the teams, which are Cesaris and Prost, of course. Prost for the number 1 team. He will be taking over from Eric Helary in a little while. But can Helary get past Gounon first? Cesaris will be taking over from Gounon. Cesaris, former karting world champion, and has been quick all weekend. Now there is Olivier Grouillard for Senna's team, which I think now is up into 3rd place. So they're coming back onto the scene again. And Olivier Grouillard, who we really haven't seen very much of in the last few minutes in his stint, is one of the quickest. There he is, 3rd place for the Senna team. Then 4th place, the Martini team, then Alliot's team, then Herbert's team right down in 6th place. Jean-Marc Gounon under pressure from Eric Helary now. Look at this, a back marker in the way as well. And that was Philippe Alliot. A back marker, Philippe Alliot. Alliot with very little experience of kart racing and really learning all the time this weekend, but thoroughly enjoying himself, having a great time. He did some practicing with Prost during the week, but he never started his career on karts, so he's having to learn, whereas these guys are experienced on karts and they're using all that experience to the full. Jean-Marc Gounon still in front of Eric Helary. Eric Helary putting him under all sorts of pressure. So it's the Cesaris team, 2 wheels there for Jean-Marc Gounon. Leading from Helary. Helary trying to get down the inside. That very quick swooping left-hander, no real room to get through there. So he has to tuck back into position in 2nd place at the moment. Eric Helary looking for a way through. Look at Jean-Marc Gounon, very dramatic style. All weekend he's been one of the most committed drivers, really slithering the kart around all the time. He's had a couple of contacts against the wall, mind you, in the practice sessions in his attempts to be the fastest, and he set some of the fastest times over the weekend, but he's got pressure under from Eric Helary at the moment. Helary tucked in behind, looking very, very smooth, and just trying to find a mistake from Jean-Marc Gounon. Gounon taking a tighter line. Can Helary take advantage of that? Not really, but he closes up just a fraction more. Ayrton Senna ready to go, watching from the pits into that hairpin. This is right opposite the pits, so Senna can watch this little bit as they go through into the next hairpin, and Gounon still protecting the lead from Eric Helary in second place. Now, perhaps a little bit of dicing going on here will give the opportunity for Olivier Grouillard to catch up in third place. He's quite some way back at the moment, thanks to the problems they had earlier. There's the gap, in fact, between the De Cesaris team and the Senna team. We can't quite see Grouillard for the Senna team in the back of your picture, or can we? No, not quite. But Grouillard in third place for Senna's team. And if this continues, this battle up front, this dicing continues, that will give Grouillard the opportunity to perhaps close up and make up some ground in third place. Through the tunnel they go. And Helary still applying the pressure to Jean-Marc Gounon. Vallier holding on well, perhaps learning from watching these two guys in front of him a little bit more about the subtleties of kart racing as they go into that hairpin. Now that looks like Grouillard, yeah, just a little bit further down. Look at how close Helary is. He can't really get any closer without climbing over the top of Jean-Marc Gounon's chassis, but he still can't quite find a way through, and that's what he really wants to do. He wants to try and get in front so that he can hand over to team leader Alain Prost with a lead. Again, Gounon defending his line there, and Helary absolutely glued to Gounon's rear bumper bar as they come out of that hairpin. And Helary trying to get alongside now. Is Gounon going to go wide here? No, he kept it under control very well, and Helary trying to find a way through, but good driving from Gounon. He's not doing anything wrong, he's just keeping control at the moment. And Helary trying everything, all the experience that he's gained over the years of motor racing. Champion in the Peugeot Spiders this year, as he was last year, and he's being tested in his attempts to get past Gounon. And into the pits now comes Eric Helary to change over to Alain Prost. So Alain Prost comes out to a great cheer from the crowd, who go wild as Prost comes out onto the circuit. Now Prost, can he lead this race? Can he hold on to the lead? The Jean-Marc Gounon and De Cesaris team have not yet swapped over. We see the number 3 kart there going ahead, but don't forget they're quite a long way down after their problems earlier on. The number 7 kart also not in the frame in the top 3 at the moment. So Alain Prost having changed. This is the important changeover, because this is Jean-Marc Gounon changing to Andrea De Cesaris. Now where is Alain Prost? That is the question. There's the number 3 kart. Where is it? There's Senna as well. There is Prost. It's Prost and Senna together. Senna has just changed over. And so now Ayrton Senna leads Alain Prost on karts. And this is a recreation of the battles that they've had in Grand Prix racing over the 80s and the 90s. And Senna now in front of Prost. Prost goes a bit wide there. He's got to watch out because he's got someone in behind him as well. This is what the fans came to see. A battle. Listen to the crowd as Prost trying to get past. Senna has got his tyres up to temperature now, perhaps. Oh, Prost has gone wide, and he loses out of position there as going through. Guerin goes through there. So losing out of place, and Prost now, well, that won't please the local crowd. And Senna looks behind him, doesn't see Prost anymore, though the helmets are very similar, so he may get a little bit confused as Senna tries to get the tyres up to temperature, get back up the grip levels. That was really because Prost was trying to take a wide line into one of the hairpins to try and get a better exit than Senna, and well, in the meanwhile he lost that position to the number 7 kart of Guerin. And so that's the Panis team. Olivier Panis very quick as well, and Prost now with more pressure on him from behind. It looks like Yannick Dalmas is just behind Alain Prost. I don't think Yannick is particularly well up. Or is it De Cesaris? No, I think it's Yannick Dalmas. The question now is, where is De Cesaris with regard to Prost? There is De Cesaris, there is Prost. So De Cesaris still having the overall lead, which is the important thing, with Senna there behind and in second place now, and Prost in third position. So a great changeover for Ayrton Senna's team. And I think that they have come up into second place. A little bit difficult to tell because they lost time earlier on. But it's definitely Andrea de Cesaris who is leading. And Prost, no matter what the overall positions might be, will be determined to try and get back to Ayrton Senna to see if he can try and take that time. Well, we shall see if he can. Olivier Panis is on that 7 kart, in fact, now, so it is Olivier Panis. A little bit of confusion there, but Olivier Panis in behind Ayrton Senna, then Alain Prost. And this is a great battle now. Look at this, they're right up with Andrea de Cesaris now, who's leading the race overall. Andrea de Cesaris on the number 4 kart, race leader, has Ayrton Senna breathing down his neck, then Olivier Panis, the Formula 3000 champion, and then Alain Prost in 4th place, just in behind him. So this is an absolutely tremendous battle. 1st to 3rd, just over a second. As Ayrton Senna in 2nd place tries to challenge, and Prost goes past Panis. Prost goes past to Panis and moves up one, as Senna trying to get past de Cesaris at the same time. Now this is great stuff. De Cesaris won the World Karting Championship in the 70s. It was a championship that Ayrton Senna never quite managed to win, although he tried it many times going back. Oh, and Senna's in trouble. Oh no, Ayrton Senna is in trouble and he retires, he pulls off, and perhaps the 2-stroke motor has cried enough. But whatever the problem, Ayrton Senna in trouble, and what a shame after building up to such a tremendous climax here with Andrea de Cesaris, Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna, and Ayrton Senna out of the race. Well, what a great shame. De Cesaris now still leads it from Alain Prost, and well, another one of the number 2 team will have gone out in place of Ayrton Senna. I'm not sure which one has gone out to replace him, but Senna in trouble. What a shame. Now we have a battle though for the lead for the remaining laps of this final race. It's de Cesaris versus Prost. Prost has caught up to de Cesaris, and now he has the task of trying to find a way through. Just 11 laps to go to the end of the race, and can Prost win in front of his home crowd? The Bercy Stadium will be lifted off the ground if Prost manages to win after this race. It's been such a closely fought contest between the great drivers in the world on these 100cc 2-stroke karts, and Prost is now trying to find a way past de Cesaris. Can he do so in the remaining laps? Just 10 laps to go now, as Prost tries his hardest to find a way past de Cesaris. Don't worry about Panis in the background because he is some way further down the order. It's the battle between these two, de Cesaris and Alain Prost. 1st and 2nd, as Prost tries everything he knows to find a way past de Cesaris, but de Cesaris is determined to stay in front. Well, Senna's team still in 3rd place. They must have got the other number 2 kart out very, very quickly and not lost too much time, but they are not in our shot. They're not in picture, so they're some way further down the order. I'm not sure whether it is Grouillard or Bouillon. Oh, de Cesaris in trouble, and it's Prost in the lead. Alain Prost is in front. De Cesaris breaks down, and Alain Prost is now leading the race. The crowd go wild as their champion is now leading the race here at Bercy. It's Alain Prost in front. There is Jean-Marc Gounon in front of him again, and they've allowed Jean-Marc Gounon to come out, but I think I'm not sure whether... Oh, Gounon goes wide anyway, and Prost is in front of him, so I'm not sure if Gounon maybe... I think he should be a lap down on the number 4 kart. I can't quite see how he can't be, although maybe they sent him out as soon as they saw on the TV screens. I have a feeling they maybe did. As soon as they saw de Cesaris pull off, I think they sent Gounon out. But, well, Prost is still in front anyway, with Gounon going wide, so Prost is still leading. Alain Prost leading the indoor karting event here in Bercy, and well, his opposition falling by the wayside with mechanical problems. Will that mean that Prost is going to have mechanical problems? If there are, I tell you, there'll be a riot here, because the crowd want nothing more than to see Alain Prost win this race. All he has to do is finish off these final few laps, make no mistakes, and he will be the indoor karting champion unofficially in this Bercy event. The Cesaris team still in second place, then ahead of Senna. They obviously sent Jean-Marc Gounon out virtually as soon as they saw De Cesaris in trouble. And that gave them the opportunity to hold on to second place. Not sure if that's strictly within the rules, but with 5 laps to go, it's Alain Prost in control of this race. After all sorts of incident and action. What a shame that we lost Ayrton Senna after such a good battle in prospect. We saw Senna and Prost battling wheel to wheel on karts, just as they did in Grand Prix racing. Prost ran a little bit wide, lost the position, and dropped back a bit from Senna, but it was all setting itself up beautifully for a run to the checkered flag. But we lost Ayrton Senna, and then we lost to Cesaris just as Prost was trying to find a way to get past. There's Grouillard. Grouillard driving for the Senna team now. Well, you can see he's some way back. Prost has already gone through the tunnel there, and there is Grouillard. So quite a few seconds behind in second place, but nevertheless a great performance after their problems. There's the gap, 9 seconds between first and third, which is Senna's team in third position, Gounon's team, the Cesaris Gounon team in second place, and Grouillard upholding the honours for the Senna team. But well, what a great shame that we lost Senna from the race just when things were hotting up so well. Well, Prost now only has a little way to go as Grouillard continues on the number 2 kart. There is Alain Prost with just a couple more laps remaining to the checkered flag. The crowd is building itself up into a fever here. 2 laps remaining. Into the tunnel he goes, through the corridors at the back of the Bercy Stadium. No pressure for him now, and Ayrton Senna with a rueful expression at having to watch his main rival from Formula 1 coming round, it looks like, to win this indoor karting event. But they're all enjoying themselves. It's been a great weekend's racing all the way through. There is Senna watching the screens and seeing Alain Prost come round on this final lap. He comes out of that hairpin into the stadium for the final time. The crowd, he must be able to hear the crowd and see the crowd as he comes round the last hairpin into the last left-hand bend, around to take the checker flag, and Alain Prost is the winner. The crowd goes wild, and Alain Prost, the winner of the Elf Indoor Karting. And what a great victory for him. Jean-Marc Gounon coming home in second place for the Cesaris team, and Senna's team in third position with Olivier Grouillard at the wheel after Senna's retirement. And there is Ayrton Senna talking to Philippe Streff, the man who put this whole show together. And Alain Prost comes home victorious, to be congratulated by his teammates Eric Helary and Franck Lagorce. And what a great team effort this was. Well, what an amazing race. All the action that we had there, with Prost team victorious in the end after Johnny Herbert's team was leading so strongly in the early stages. And Emmanuel Collard retiring with mechanical failures for Johnny Herbert's team. So Johnny was not to repeat his victory from last night. Then we saw a tremendous battle between the Alain Prost team and the Ayrton Senna team, with Olivier Grouillard there. Eric Helary as well was driving superbly for Prost team. But Senna and Prost were wheel to wheel battling away on the kart. Prost went a little bit wide, lost a bit of ground to Ayrton Senna, and it looked as though Senna had the advantage. But Prost was then coming back towards him, and then Senna going out with that mechanical failure and having to retire. So there's the final positions. Prost the victorious team, the Cesaris team in second, Senna's in third, Pierluigi Martini's in fourth, Johnny Herbert's team end up in fifth place, and the team of Olivier Panis in sixth place after a lot of problems earlier on. Well, it's been a tremendous first event here at Bercy for the Indoor Karting Championship, and you've seen it all here on Eurosport. This has been Ben Edwards. Do hope you've enjoyed this great racing from Paris. Let's hope that they repeat the event in 1994 and we see the cream of the Formula 1 World Championship drivers competing here again. For now, it's goodbye.